The Night Shift podcast has clocked in once again.
Let's go.
I am your host slash step Asian mom, Huna slash Lucas. You can call me whatever. Let us introduce the other two members for today's podcast.
Hello.
Hi, I am Hinata or Hina, whichever. I don't really care. Um, yeah, I'm kind of just vibing.
Aren't we all?
That's the life.
Go Mike Lee Torres for long.
Hey guys, what's up? This is Mike. Thanks for having me again. I'll be one of your guest commentators tonight, and I can stay for the whole show today, so that's good. And
Let's go.
I'm not on my motorcycle today,
Dude,
which
I
is always
swear,
fun.
were you driving a motorcycle? Like it sounded like it.
I told you I was gonna work.
Yeah, but like, okay, fair,
Fair.
fair. All
No, I
right,
was in the
so
car. Yeah. So.
guys, we actually have somewhat of a structure today. We are going to talk about conspiracy theories because I don't know why, but just because we are bored and we're vibing. But
True.
Hanada would like to start off because I think she did some a great deal of background research on conspiracy theories. So if you would like to take it away,
Okay.
please.
So, the main one that I prepared. Have you guys ever heard of a man named John Titor?
Yes. Oh my,
Oh my
this is
god.
this is like this. Wait, John Teeter, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Isn't this part of like Steins Gate?
Uh, I don't know.
I haven't
Because they
seen
literally
Steins
went
Gate.
over like in the show they talked about. I guess it's a kind of like I think it is a real life person. Like they based it off. I believe the real life conspiracy slash person slash whatever.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I
So
am glad
hey,
that you
I
know.
you picked the correct one. Oh
Oh, why is there a stream?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, okay. Okay, so John Teeter, basically, he showed up on 4chan of all websites, or forums in 2000. I believe his first post was November of 2000. Basically, he was claiming that he was a time traveler from the year
yes,
2036, if I believe. Um,
yes.
so basically, for five
My
months, November, December, January, February, and March, I believe. March was the last time that he posted, March of 2001. And he went on 4chan and he was basically saying that he was a time traveler. And he literally described like how his time machine worked and everything like that. And like it, it was just so vivid and it's so specific. The way that he was describing it was basically it was small and it could fit into a suitcase, but the suitcase was so heavy that like you basically had to move around a car. And
Mm-hmm.
basically he was saying it was basically like black holes that were creating it, and it was more or less not necessarily time travel as we would see it, like staying in our dimension. But the way that he was describing it was going to other dimensions almost, and
oh
like
wait, this is I actually genuinely want to ask something. Is
yeah,
this is dead ass, right? This is like real
yeah,
life,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
like
It's
conspiracy.
no, no,
Yeah.
no.
Because
This
like
literally happened.
literally,
You
I
can look
guess the
up.
show Steins Gate is literally based off this conspiracy. That
I'm gonna have to watch Steins Gate now. But no, no,
yeah,
no, no,
no,
no.
Mm-hmm.
you gotta watch it. You're gonna hear about John Titor and his uh, like dimension theory about how like
Wow.
if you change one thing, you move slightly away from your dimension
Yeah, that's
into a
exactly.
different dimension.
That is
Dude,
exactly.
you would love Steins Gate. I know I've been recommending it like crazy, but like holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, I'm gonna have to watch it now. But
Yeah.
okay, that was basically is like every reality or not reality dimension, there was like a 1% chance of things being changed. And like with the
Mhm.
grand scheme of things, a 1% is a lot because there's infinite dimensions, which
Like,
means there's infinite changes. You know what I'm saying?
Like the
it's so
butterfly effect,
funny.
right?
It's so funny because the
No,
entire
not
show is
not
just you literally just summarized the entire show back in. I swear you like literally went to like an anime like summary and you're just reading it.
no, I'm not.
Maybe that's what inspired them to make the show
That's
or
what I'm
the
saying. I
Reddit
Yeah.
guess
post.
yeah, that's
So
hilarious though.
okay, so basically, like he would describe everything about him time travel, and what was really cool was on 4chan, you know, people would ask him stuff, and he would be happy to respond to it. The only thing that he didn't like or respond to was like anything that to deal with natural disasters because he
Of
said
course.
that it's up to probability and that there's no way anybody could predict that. So basically, it's like chance. And then he wouldn't do anything that anybody could profit off of. So like he wouldn't give
Mhm.
out lottery ticket numbers. He wouldn't give out, you know, like
Bro, I'm like
fantasy
I'm
football.
dude, I'm
Like
dead.
the Back to the
Dude, you're
Future.
literally describing the fucking plot. Like I'm so fucking I'm dying. Like every single thing you brought up happened in the show.
It's so Steins Gate, eh?
Oh
Oh
my
my
god.
god.
I didn't know the show was based off a conspiracy. Wait, I gotta ask. Okay, I gotta ask.
Uh huh.
So which one
Is
came
this
first though? Steins Gate
definitely
or the
John
Reddit post?
Titer?
Um,
John Titer.
I'm I believe John Teeter did come first as I don't know when Steingate was made, but John Teeter came up in the late 2000s and early 2001.
Yeah, so like I think the visual novel was made in like let me just Google this real quick. Holy
Yeah,
shit,
please do it.
I'm just oh my god, my screen just glitched. That shit scared the fuck out of me. Oh my
What?
god. We're
We're talking
going
about
to someone
conspiracy theories.
the government is after us.
Yeah.
All
Oh
right,
my
They're
so
gonna
god.
shut the stream down.
while you're doing
Wait,
that,
I
I'm gonna continue. Okay,
no wait,
so
hold on. I
okay,
gotta ask, okay? I gotta ask. Did this real life John Titer ever talk about like a computer called the IBM?
yes, that was my next
Oh
point,
my
bro.
god, dude, I'm dead. I'm dead. Oh my god, I'm dead. I'm deceased.
All right, so
So today I found out Steins Gate is based on a conspiracy theory,
oh my
or it's
Yeah,
god,
the other way
it was
around.
made in 2009.
yeah. All right. So now that we know Steins Gate is literally a ripoff of conspiracy theory, can we move on?
Oh my
Well,
god.
while we're in the topic of time travelers, do you guys remember that site, YTMND?
No, I
No.
do not.
Well, like in the early days of the internet, there was an article posted there of a newspaper clipping. It's like uh, it's an advertisement for a newspaper, and it
Mm-hmm.
reads, "Going back in time, need people to go with me." It's like, I've only done this once, safety not guaranteed,
Mm.
and it basically kickstarted a whole bunch of memes or conspiracy theories about uh, the guy who made the ad. Like, is this for real? Is this just an elaborate hoax and whatnot?
Mm.
So, like, what we can take for this is like, uh, people on the internet, if they start a trend like that and a
Yeah.
lot of people hop on board, it will influence like pop
Mm-hmm.
culture or mainstream media in a way.
Yeah.
And this is what keeps most conspiracy theories alive to this
Mm-hmm.
very day.
True.
So I'm just reading something on John Titor,
Yep.
and I mean this is from Wikipedia, so it's like absolute fucking garbage. But like it says, like it was determined to be somewhat of a hoax, which I mean like
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
conspiracy, bro. But
when I get
like,
into it, you'll see why it's deemed a hoax. But then, like some of the things are really crazy. Like I'm
No, but
going to
like,
tell you.
okay, so I did do the research.
Uh
Yeah,
huh.
and then Steins Gate is basically, I mean, it's not based on, but like, they use the conspiracy to like help drive the plot of time traveling in the show.
Rip Huna.
They're easy to. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Did you hear that?
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay,
All
yeah,
right. May I continue now?
yes.
Go
Please
ahead.
All
go
right.
Go
ahead.
for it.
Awesome. So so this man predicted so much stuff, but also he predicted stuff that was completely incorrect, which is why people deem this as a hoax. So one of the things that he predicted right, which Hina was talking about earlier, was the IBM. So when IBM had like one of the first computers, right, and so everyone had this computer, and
Mm-hmm.
he said that there was a it's not a program, but an ability on the computer that could translate anything in any language, right? And that it's been there the entire time. Now, this was in 2000, right? When it's first coming out. And so, like, literally after John Titor had left the internet and had gone away, which they had said he had time traveled back to 2020 or 36, sorry, and
Mm-hmm.
literally IBM came out and said that in like I think 2004 it was that this literally was a feature the entire time. But like they
Okay.
had never released that information prior. So it's like how did he predict that would happen? Like that's crazy that he would predict such like a minor thing that like nothing like no one could have predicted that
Of
unless they
course.
had found it, you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? But they would have to do
Mm-hmm.
some digging for it. So that
So,
yeah.
uh, can I just cut in for real
Yeah, go
quick?
ahead.
Yeah. Go
So,
ahead.
like, I also saw that the whole thing was like how John Titor was like an American, like, like allegedly an American time traveler, right? Like an American government time traveler from the year 2036,
Mhm.
something like that, right?
So yeah, so
So,
he was coming back because apparently they needed something from his grandfather. It was actually an IBM computer because basically in 2036 in his timeline or dimension he was saying that
I'm
literally
deceased.
uh, basically the planet literally had like a reset basically like a cultural not a
Mm-hmm.
cultural the like society reset like so all of the technology they had was completely gone so what they had to do was they had to get this computer so they could use it and like build technology back up rather than
Mm-hmm.
starting from like the newest thing so
Gotcha.
because it's so much easier to go back in time or not to look back at old technology and build old technology than it is to build new technology. You get what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Like it's so hard to
Yes.
build, an iPhone or not an iPhone, but like a huge PC compared to like the IBM
Mm-hmm.
computer, if that makes any sense. So like he had to go back, and the reason why he had said that he was selected for the mission was because his grandfather had it, and it's so much easier to get your relatives or family members to uh, believe you because you can tell them stuff about the family that only the family would know and stuff like that. So he was using that to basically get what he needed and try to go back. And he was even saying that like his family believed him, and he actually lived in the same house as his younger self.
Mm-hmm. That
You,
that brings
God,
about the.
you need to watch Steins Gate. Oh my God, it's bro. You're literally describing the entirety of the plot. It's
That brings us to a problem though. Like, won't that cause a paradox?
I don't
yes.
know. I didn't see. I didn't read too much into it, like because I didn't have a lot of time because I did not think we were doing this today, and I thought we had more time. But I don't think he mentioned anything about a paradox. But like he was saying that he would take, his younger self, like, back and forth, like on flights and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I
I'm deceased.
is this in Steins Gate as well?
Essentially,
Oh my lord.
I'm deceased, bro.
So I don't think he mentioned anything about a paradox, and if he did, I did not read too much into it. That would be something that I would have to look more into.
Like,
Hmm.
if you think about it, like mentioning to anyone in the past that, oh, I'm your grandson, won't that affect their decision making?
So
That is
no, um,
that. I just want to say this, okay? Like, let me get this out.
go
So in
ahead.
the show, Steins Gate, literally decisions change. Like literal words change, like futures. So like if you say something, it will literally move your. I think they call it the world line
Hmm.
off by however how many like the decimals or whatever. So like what Castor talked about is it could be very much true, like applied to real life
Hmm.
as it is applied to the anime. Oh, bro, it's so funny that it's like what we're talking about.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I just want to say that Castor makes a great point.
Yeah.
That's like the grandfather paradox.
Well, it's kind of different though, because the grandfather paradox is about how like you're killing your younger self.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Mm, that is when the Speaking of paradox, we should talk about paradox sometimes. Like I know a lot of paradoxes.
That's the thing. Like, that's the wonkiest thing about time travel is that, there's so much about it in pop culture that the rules to it have become so convoluted.
Hmm.
There's
Hmm.
like the Back to the Future type time travel where.
And that is basically essentially what John Teeter was talking about. Like if you look at like what his diagrams were and the way he was describing it, it literally sounded like something in Back to the Future.
Mm-hmm,
But like it was a little bit more complex than that,
mm-hmm,
because basically what Back to the Future did, it didn't go into another dimension. It was just going back and forth into time,
mm-hmm,
specifically back into time. But
mm-hmm,
but John Teeter literally was literally changing dimensions while going back in time. Um, One way I heard it described was, and this goes out to Kendall Ray. I don't want to take any credit away from her. This is the example that she used that I thought was amazing for this. So basically, imagine yourself standing in one of the fun houses, like with all the mirrors.
yep.
Like like there's not millions, but like there's a lot of yourself. But when you take a step forward, everybody else takes a step forward, right? Like
Mm-hmm,
at the same
mm-hmm,
time.
Hmm.
So basically, when you time travel, basically you're going into another dimension, but the rest of you in like other dimensions are also taking that step forward in time traveling. So there's always like one of you.
Isn't it like
That's the
I
Doctor Who
don't know
logic,
if
right?
this is exactly how John Titor describes time traveling, but so I heard this is relatively
Huna, take a
similar to
minute.
time traveling, but it's like if you make a decision, you, new timelines. I think this is like a. Am I better? Hello?
Yes, yes.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah. Okay. Sorry,
No, you're fine.
guys. So I think this is a physics, like a quantum physics, uh,
Mhm.
like idea, but it's basically that if you take uh, a decision and you make, let's say you reach a path that splits into two, let's say A and B. If you take
Yeah.
A path, there will be a new dimension created for the A path, and then there will be another dimension created when you took the B path, and that's how you can have multiple world
Mm-hmm.
lines or dimensions. Like I don't know if that's what John Titor necessarily was referring to, but I
Mm-hmm.
think this is also like it's connected to what it's saying.
Yeah. Like, I don't think that's quite what he was describing, but I feel like his description is up for interpretation. Um, let me see if I can find his actual description here.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to I think John Teeter .com or something, yeah. It literally is run by this guy who's like obsessed with John Teeter, and it has like everything that he had posted and everything. Um,
Honestly, though, time traveling is such a fascinating idea.
it
Like, if
really
it
is.
were ever to become reality, like,
Oh no.
it will change, like,
Mm-hmm.
perception of the past. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Of course.
Like, it's such a bonkers idea that,
Mm.
like, if time traveling will ever be possible, then we would have experienced it already.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I feel like it's not really related, but like deja vu's. Like
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
it's almost like, let's just say time traveling for one is possible. Like I would honestly want to put my like play some bets that like when you're like experiencing a deja vu, like it could be related somehow, or
Yeah.
right?
Yes, it
Yeah.
is. You
So
know
I'm
what
just
scares me the most though? Like if a time traveler really is among us, and if we ever get a chance to them, it's like, oh, what year is it? Oh, it's 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, 2020. The first year of quarantine. It's like,
Yeah.
those
what, what,
memes, bro.
what do you mean
So
first year, right?
here is his first post. It says, "Greetings, I am a time traveler from the year 2036. I am on my way home after getting an IBM 5100 computer system from the year 1975. My quote unquote time machine is a stationary mass temporal displacement unit manufactured by General Electric. The unit is powered by two top spin dual positive singularities that produce a standard offset Templar. I do not know how to pronounce that word. I will be happy to post pictures of the unit."
Okay, this is completely off topic, but
Mm-hmm.
I just want to say, like, conspiracies really like freak me the fuck out. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. Like, if you give me
Of
an
course, yeah.
horror
Mm-hmm.
like shit, like I don't get freaked out because like it's just whatever, bro. Like a jump scare or something.
Mm-hmm.
But
It's
like,
just
if you
a
bring
sense
up
of
like
dread, right?
conspiracies, no, like yeah, like if you bring up conspiracies and you let your mind wander, like that
Mhm.
shit freaks me the fuck out. Like I don't know about you guys, but like I'm kind of shook.
Of course, it's the sense of the unknown, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Like it,
So, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, it just challenges your perceptions on
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
what you believe in. And
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
most,
And
uh, go ahead, yeah.
I feel like it's important to note that I mean, with any conspiracy, you need to take it with a grain of salt. But I mean,
of
there's
course.
there's there's some conspiracy theories that are like so wild, like the flat Earth theory. But then
Oh,
there's
Oh,
dude,
there's
if we
also
ever,
there's also the
after you finish
conspiracy.
this, I want to talk about the flat Earth theory.
All right. So even after I mean, there's been conspiracy theories that have been proven to be true. Like, I think that's what's the most scary part about conspiracy theories is that it could be true, and
mm-hmm.
I think that
Yeah.
that's definitely what scares people the most when it comes to this
Mhm.
kind of stuff. Like, I just genuinely think it's interesting. I don't believe in a lot of it, But I just think it's really interesting, like, just thinking about it. Like, I mean, yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
but
It's a real like it honestly like it's as intense as like studying something because
yeah,
like you really have to use your imagination and like you also have to take some like real life concepts and apply it to them.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
It's not something school teaches you about researching conspiracy theories,
mm,
you
that is
know?
true.
So,
It's
I
also
mean,
like a thought exercise, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
It's you play with it in your mind, like how do I prove this or how do I disprove this?
yeah,
Hmm.
It really challenges you. Like
yeah.
it makes you wonder too, like the people who genuinely believe in it,
Mm-hmm.
why they believe in it, and because like we mentioned the flat Earth theory, like these people have conventions
Yeah,
about it.
I would love to go more into the flat Earth theory after this.
of
Of
Like
course.
we
course,
should, yeah. Like
the
Hinata, if you have more like to
Oh,
talk about
oh,
for John
yeah.
Titor, we can, yeah, we can
I have a lot
come
more.
back.
but
Yeah,
I'm
no,
not
maybe
with
just
close
condense
to
it.
done. Yeah, yeah, I will.
with SpaceX though,
We're
their
we're only
theory is
26 minutes in, Huna. We will have time.
I'm just saying, yo, on that Earth theory. Well, it's not really mine. Like I did see this from Shane Dawson, so like not too creative,
Oh my
but
goodness.
like I also have my own like interpretations.
Yeah.
Dude,
but
Um.
honest, speaking of which, Shane Dawson's conspiracy videos are fucking, like
True.
great. Dead.
Yeah.
uh,
All right. So a another thing that he had predicted, which I'm so surprised. Like, this is something like, how could you predict this? You know, like, okay, so he had predicted that Stephen Hawking, the man himself, was going to come out and say that the worst mistake of his career was that he was wrong about how black holes worked. So,
That
and
is
like
yikes.
it happened. Oh my lord. Like, okay,
It's
so
not too long ago, I think, right?
yeah, so literally
Yeah.
Stephen Hawking came out years after John Titor had left and said that he was wrong. That he originally said that when black holes, like, basically, I don't know, suck things up, for lack of better terms. I'm not very familiar with black holes, but
Antimatter.
yeah,
mhm.
he was saying that basically once they're sucked in, it's gone forever. And he had said that he believes that he's wrong about it.
Hmm.
But the fact that this man predicted that Stephen Hawking was going to come out and say, let alone that he was wrong about something, and then specifically his black hole theory.
I mean, to be fair though, like Stephen Hawking's like prior black hole theory was a little bonkers
I
of
mean,
in itself.
And
yeah,
that's
Like
the thing with scientists,
creating
though, right?
antimatter is something of fiction as well, just as
mm-hmm,
much
Mhm.
as time traveling. So like, I'm just saying, but like, I
mm-hmm,
don't discredit John Titor or whoever he may or may not be, but yes,
mm-hmm.
And if you guys remember that the book, the Da Vinci Code, it's centered all
Mm-hmm.
around the antimatter,
Yeah.
hmm,
weaponized antimatter, right? And
yeah,
one of the main villains was a scientist in a wheelchair. You know, if you can make the connections with that, what he wanted to say.
yeah,
And it also works like the same thing, like how they do the Simpsons conspiracy theories that they can predict everything.
yeah. So many of like these, it's so strange because I remember not too long ago there was a like also a time traveling thing about like the Rona, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was this book that apparently that was like published in like the 19 something that
Mm-hmm.
talked about a Wuhan virus. Like these are all freaking bonkers.
Mm-hmm.
They're so like just like whoa, how?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am trying to find something very specific. I cannot remember the name of the company. Um, so basically, another thing that he had actually predicted was that another or a company, um, a company was going to basically invent the first time machine. Now I cannot remember the name of the company. I've been trying to look for it like since we've been just sitting here. I cannot find it and I cannot remember it. It's killing me. But he was saying that they like a very like not well known company, not really doing much, was going to like come out and say that they're creating like the first time machine. And what's really funny is that years after John Titor had left, they came out and were saying like, oh yeah, so we're trying to create a time machine.
So like I don't want to discredit like the conspiracy, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how big John Titor like John Titor during his time was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's not like right now with like much better social media and internet
Mm-hmm.
and whatever
Mhm.
that you can just really spread this like because 4chan in like 2000 is like what like there's not that much people that are like
No, no, no.
4chan die hard.
Again, it's like
So
2000. Not really like the only people on the internet is people that need the internet and can have access to the internet. If you get what I
yeah,
mean.
yeah. So I was just trying to like say like
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
if this ever happened during our time, like, and someone later comes out and says it, like, it would just be discredited as
Yeah.
Mhm.
like a joke or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So like, I don't know how much that can be applied to what John Titor did
Yeah.
because
Mhm.
like he did also again influence or like not influence but like predict uh so Stephen Hawking. So like I wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
think Stephen Hawking is someone that would be influenced by like meme culture or whatever
One
to
hundred
like
percent not.
really, yeah.
Mhm.
So like the small company you're talking about, it's much more like possible, like
True.
just for like recognition's sake, some like
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like self promo in a sense,
Mm-hmm.
just
Mhm.
like pushing yourself out there, connecting to something that's relevant.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So like I don't know how much I'm gonna agree with this specific point you're bringing up, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like pointing that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So another point, another prediction that he actually did had was he posted, and said, "Hey, I think this was directed towards NASA or maybe not. I can't remember the exact post, but he was saying, hey, have y'all fixed the overheating on your space plane?" And of course, no one knew what that meant, and it's such a weird wording, space plane. But he was really referring to a spaceship, right?
Mhm.
Obviously. So, what a lot of people think that he was mentioning was the U.S. Challenger. Um,
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
yeah. So,
Hmm.
if you, it, for the listeners, if you don't remember what the Challenger was basically a flight into space, and they were coming back down, and all of a sudden, like it literally overheated, and everyone on the spaceship died.
Didn't it like burst into flames or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it overheated,
Yeah.
which this is
Hmm.
why everyone that follows this conspiracy theory thinks that that's what he was referring to because that was the one that was the closest in the timeline. So it was just crazy, that I wouldn't say this one to me is kind of the stretch one for myself, because he could have really that could have happened at any point. You know what I'm saying?
Of
But
course.
but it was just crazy that he could say that and then years later it come back and actually happen. But again, to me, this one seems like more the stretch because it it's more likely to happen than the rest of them, in my opinion.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's just like the question of whether it's just a coincidence
Yeah.
or if it's actually truth. I mean,
Yeah.
if you have so many coincidences, like it has to be relatively truthful. But
Mhm.
again, that's like up to like interpretation.
Yeah, 100%. So
Mm-hmm.
there's one more prediction that he did get right. He he basically predicted 9/11. Basically, he had posted.
Yikes!
Yeah,
Yikes.
he had posted. Where is the where's the big tower? And he was referencing the one in New York. But then
Again, that's very very vague.
yeah. And so
Yeah.
he was saying like I'm trying to remember the exact thing that I read, but it's not coming to mind. So basically what they were saying was that this was posted, I think this was one of his last posts, if I'm not mistaken, like
Mm-hmm.
earlier 2001. And obviously, 9/11 happened that
And
same year. So
yeah,
that's what people think that he was referencing and whatnot. So just like, I don't know. It's very, very crazy. And to think about
this
that,
one is also like more of a stretch. I think.
yeah.
I think it's
Mm-hmm.
just it's kind of like confirmation bias, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like just because it's so closely lined up together in like the timeline, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
You
Like
associate it
people
yourself.
people who believe this, they just
Mm-hmm.
want to grasp at anything that might confirm the truth of this,
Yeah.
which is like again, I think you said he referred to big tower, which is like
Mm-hmm.
such a stupid word to use.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I can't remember the exact quote, so I just said big tower. But
Okay.
yeah, I can't
Yeah.
remember exactly. I don't want to like confirm or deny that.
Mm-hmm.
But
Hmm.
I can't find it right now. But one of the biggest things that he got wrong, and which a lot of people, this is why he's discredited a lot.
This is the 2004 like world ending
Yeah.
doomsday
So
thing.
so
Yeah.
so basically, he was saying that there was going to be a civil war in the U.S. and that basically all the countries were going to get involved except like some countries in Africa, and basically he was saying that it was going to be like kind of like a low level like nuclear war, and then he said that there was going to be like a cultural reset basically, and we would all have to like go back and everything, and obviously it didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
um,
Yeah.
so basically,
Maybe he was in the wrong timeline, you know?
yeah. So that's exactly what people say. He had mentioned the 1% difference, but then
Hmm.
you have to think like that 1% difference. He could have just gotten the times wrong, or it, something could have happened and it just never happened. Like this could have been the dimension that it didn't happen. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So like
Mm-hmm.
you have to take it again with a grain of salt. Like
Of course.
um this one was obviously a stretch and he didn't get it right. And he was so bold to predict like literally the destruction of humankind. Like
Again, this like very much can go back to his own personal theory of like time, like dimensions and
mm-hmm.
timelines,
Yeah.
because like it is very like factual. I mean, not factual. Like
Mm-hmm.
it is very true in his own theory that like any small thing can change. It's like the butterfly effect, right?
Yeah.
Like any small thing can change like massive
Mm-hmm.
like outcomes. So like very well he could have got the time wrong or like something happened
Yeah.
knocked the 1% or whatever out of current timeline.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is me like really trying to prove his point.
Mm-hmm.
Or
But
maybe it's
nothing.
So
because just him going back already changed stuff.
That,
yeah.
That's
that
why.
is true, yeah.
Yeah. So I
It
mean,
could very well. Yeah.
Yeah, like anything could have happened. Like we don't really know. But another thing that's really interesting about the whole case is that his family. We don't know much about his family, but what people believe to be his family literally hired a lawyer to basically answer questions about the whole John Teeter thing. And even so, even years later, John Teeter supposedly made a comeback, and he he literally faxed something to a almost like a Saturday Night Live podcast thing. But basically he
Yikes.
was
Let's
saying
hope we don't get that.
basically he was saying something, and I can't remember what that had said, but it basically led to people thinking like, oh, well, here we are a couple of years later, and he's like back, like. But
Mm.
then he was saying, or people were saying that it could have been just a random person, faxing in
Yeah.
as John, and then
Of course.
I think also someone under the name of John came back up on 4chan afterwards, and I believe was warning people about the LA shootings that happened a couple of years ago. And
Jeez.
like there is multiple reports of which again really crazy at the concert there was a lady that was going around about 45 minutes before the shooting happened telling everybody to leave and that they were going to die.
Jeez.
Yeah, I mean,
It's getting grim.
Yeah,
it's
like, and there's multiple witnesses. Like, she literally had to be carried, or not carried, but she had to be kicked out by security because people were like, "What is going on with this lady?" Which I would be too.
it's like it's so like I just want to say two things. Like
Hmm.
time travel, it's such a like it's so crazy.
Hmm.
Really do wanna like that you're a time traveler or
Hmm.
whatever. Like it just the entire community, the entire world is gonna dismiss you for your
Yeah, of course.
claims. But like
Mm.
it's like with the case of that lady and the shooting, like she very well could have prevented a lot of things, but
But
it's
like
just
she was trying to go around and tell people to leave, and like of course they didn't because why would you believe
yeah,
some random lady? And then
of
like,
course. I'm just saying here, right? Like
hmm,
it's such a like even for let's just say as a time traveler, right? It's
hmm,
such a dilemma to do the right thing, like kind of
yeah,
like let's just say for this example that lady was a time traveler.
hmm,
Like that is such a hard decision to make of like being crazy or saving lives.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But then you
Yeah.
also have to play into fact, some people believe in what fate and destiny. So
Yeah.
basically, like no matter what you do, like it's always gonna happen. So like it's very hard because we literally don't know, and it's very hard to say like whether or not everything's set in stone. No matter what you do, it's always gonna go down this path, or like the butterfly effect, or like the infinite dimensions. If you make one decision, there's multiple other dimensions that are took the other path. You know what I'm saying? So like we don't know. Like ultimately we just don't know.
You see, like with time traveling, you know how I made the point before that if time traveling ever becomes a reality, that we would have experienced the like these. That's kind of what the conspiracies are, right?
Mhm.
Like they're kind of what I was talking about, real firsthand accounts,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
But again, like even let's just say we are dismissing them as false, and they are indeed false. Like this idea of like a multiple split dimensions
Mhm.
kind of brings back the possibility of time traveling. Because
Mhm.
what if they just didn't come to our dimension yet?
Mhm.
Like
So
it's
on
time
that
traveling is
note,
fascinating.
another thing John Teeter had said was that he's not the only time traveler to have come. And he was saying that there's multiple, time travelers around. And he was saying that, all the UFOs that people see, like they believe it's aliens. He was saying that those are actually time travels and time traveling machines. And
Yeah,
basically,
it's
like,
quite crazy.
yeah, and like space
Uh,
is kind of like the highway for, or the interstate for time travel.
Okay, well, that's just literally going against a good amount of science. I would like to say,
yeah.
Yeah.
right?
And like with
Because
this theory, it's very.
we do have a good of like a decent understanding of the cosmos. What happened?
Yeah. And since we also bring up space, like we can also think of the Fermi paradox, right?
Mhm.
Like if there are other advanced civilizations out there, where are
Yeah.
they? Why haven't they tried to contact us yet?
I mean,
You know,
Oh,
are they just
speaking of which, there was a idea that like there is a block. I forgot the exact term, but the thing that you were talking about, like there is like a reset stage,
a
I would
filter,
say.
right?
mhm.
A filter, yeah, the filter, the great filter, right?
What
Is
if
that what you're
we're
saying?
the one who made it past the filter?
Or
If you look
or
back in
that
our
we
history, there's been
mhm,
so many extinction events that happened on our planet,
Mhm.
and yet
so
we're
it
still here.
yeah, it's scary to think of like if we have already passed the filter or that we are going to meet the filter soon.
Soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what if other cultures are just waiting for us to advance to a certain point
Mhm.
Hmm.
before they try to contact us? Or if they're going to be threatened by our current state and just annihilate us? If
Yeah.
you remember the movie Independence Day,
Yeah.
That
And
kind of goes into like the conspiracy of like simulation, you
hmm
know? Because
it's like the Matrix, right?
I
no,
wouldn't.
it's
I wouldn't say
no,
that. I feel like the whole Matrix conspiracy is like totally different from the mm, civilizations on other planets and other uh, galaxies. I feel like those are totally different.
well, like it's kind of a connection of saying how we've never met any other advanced, highly thinking,
Like, what if imagine?
like aliens, right? Or just
Think,
beings
I love it, Lucas.
be
Huna,
like
take a minute.
Uh-huh.
like one pop.
Oh, and right. Oh yeah.
Nice.
What if there's like
Hello?
Hi,
oh,
Huna.
there he's back. What if there's like
Yeah.
an advanced civilization out there
Mm-hmm.
that will just look at Earth like it looks like we look at a farm? Like
We are
we
not
harvest the
intimidating.
vegetables. Yeah, but
I don't know, man.
the insects
Honestly,
there, we don't care about
we
the insects there. We're just there for the resources.
we
What
We
if
are
they do that to Earth
intimidating.
at one point? They just, oh, they have water and trees. Let's take them all.
Yeah, like
Hmm.
we are not advanced enough. Like if it, like obviously, like we go to space pretty, every once in a while. But like we went to
I
the
want to
moon
say that
once.
no, I want to say that we are not intimidating in the sense that we are like highly advanced, right? Because
Yeah,
we are not to the point
we
of
are advanced life forms. Yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
we're
Mm-hmm.
more advanced than an ant, and a dog,
Mm-hmm.
but we are not advanced in the aspect of technology of knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
We had what was it, the Alexandria Library
That
that
burned down,
burned
right?
down, and that set us back thousands and thousands of years. Could you imagine like how advanced we would be if that didn't happen?
There's also another
Mhm.
similar story. I can't remember if it was Pythagoras who wrote the book. It's about
Mm-hmm.
advanced trigonometry, but a monk from a monastery who has the book stripped the
Wasn't
pages
it that?
clean of ink, right, and
Mm-hmm.
rewrote Bible verses on it instead.
Yeah, wasn't there also a thing about how ancient Egyptians were able to do like highly advanced trigonometry and calculus, but
Exactly. How do you think the pyramids were built, man? Like it's
that's
Aliens,
like
right?
like no, like not
yikes.
even like aliens. Like they had to carry these blocks like miles and miles and build them in such a way, that it stayed up, and they did it in such a short amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
We can't even build roads, and it takes us so long to build roads. Like,
I just want to say
but
it's kind of like the same thing with the Great Wall of China.
mm-hmm,
If it's the Great Wall was literally, I believe, I'm not 100% sure, but it was constructed in around 9 years, I believe,
that's insane.
and it's massive. And this ancient, I don't believe it was as ancient as like ancient Egyptians because it was not literally at the start of the Chinese
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
like ancient China, but it
Of
was
course.
it was still ancient, you know. And this
Yeah.
wall, it was built in such a short time. I mean, there was a lot of death. I think that was recorded,
Oh
but
yeah,
like,
and they
Of
would
course.
what they buried the people that died inside the
mhm.
actual wall.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like how like that is also crazy on how they made the Great Wall and the Great Pyramid and all these
Mm-hmm.
other and
Mm-hmm.
even like the Mayan temples. It's just like, whoa, how?
Mm-hmm. And we
That's
can't
a
do it. We
whole rabbit
can't do
hole
it.
by itself. Yeah.
Like it's
It's
frustrating.
just
Mhm.
so now that we mentioned the Mayans, like why did they just all disappear from their cities? They were just at one
That
point
is.
they were just abandoned, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
And
like
like I remember like the 2012 end of mine calendar was such a big deal as well. Like,
Oh, I
that
remember
one has been
that.
debunked easy though. It's just
Yeah.
that
hmm
like just like a regular calendar, it ends. Get a new one.
yeah, yeah. But I'm just saying, like they continued, like it was such a conspiracy back in the day. How like
Mm-hmm.
they continued their calendar for like years and years and years, but it
Mm-hmm.
just ended. It's
And
like the same thing of them like leaving, right, disappearing. It's
Mm-hmm.
so many strange, unexplainable circumstances.
Like even with I know I don't know if they taught you, but like here in my state, we're very big on like Jamestown settlement just because of where
Oh
I'm
yeah,
located.
yeah.
Like, have you heard about what was it?
Roanoke,
Yeah,
Roanoke.
the Roanoke Colony, or
Mm-hmm.
was it Roanoke Colony or was it Roe
Yeah,
Colony?
it
It
is
was
the
something like
Roanoke.
that. Like like literally they just lost an entire village of women, men, and children. Like
yeah,
how?
just
Like they just
Yeah.
gone, right?
disappeared, gone.
Oh, man, it's like the same thing with like the Bermuda Triangle. I mean,
Well, okay,
I would say
so
less so because the
yeah,
Bermuda Triangle, like it's actually quite rare because there are shipping routes that go through them.
so
But
okay,
it's
so
just the small things
yeah,
that we just can't explain. Like what is going on?
like the
But
Malaysian airline.
yeah,
Do
it's
y'all
just
remember
gone.
that? It's
With all the
Yes.
gone.
satellite technology that we have,
Yeah,
GPS tracking,
and
like
the
at
black
all times.
box. Y'all know what the black box is, right?
Hmm. Yeah,
Of
I
course,
believe.
you know
So
Like
where
it
I
was.
work.
yeah, so the black box basically is supposed to, if a plane gets into like a wreck or anything, or something happens to it, that's supposed to, transmit a signal to where it's located, but they can't find it. And
Mm-hmm.
that thing is indestructible basically. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I, like it's supposed to be waterproof, fireproof, blastproof. It's supposed to be all of that, but it's just gone. Absolutely nothing. And luggage would float in water.
Mm-hmm.
The what's it?
It's
The
just like how we
chairs.
discovered the Titanic. Like it's even though our world is massive, our technology is at a point where it's reasonable to expect that we can find these things, but they just disappear out of thin air.
Yeah, like
Mm-hmm.
I just it's crazy to me. Like it's absolutely crazy to me, and I don't understand like because we're doing such amazing things like with technology, but like our technology isn't even that advanced, but it's so advanced to us if you get what I mean. Like everyone thinks that we're at a point now where we can basically grow organs, and being in the medical field for like 2 seconds, we're not even close to that point, and it's immaculate to me because everyone that I talk to, like, they think we're already there, but we're not even close.
Barely, barely there.
Hmm.
And with all these planes, ships disappearing, it leads us to another conspiracy theory. Does the government know what really happened and are they covering it up?
So okay,
That
so
is like the most, like, I would say, like, supported
yeah.
theory. Yeah, that's like,
Because the government
This
has
is
been
what
caught lying to us before and like hiding stuff before. Like, have y'all heard about the Amelia Earhart situation?
yeah, yeah.
Like, they literally misfiled a picture of her in one of these islands, and like whether or not that was on purpose, is unknown, but someone found it, and literally like the government knew that she was alive and was on an island, and it, literally they had just said that, like, no one knew what happened, but the government did, and it's crazy, absolutely
mm,
crazy.
It's scary, bro. Like, it's scary to think of authority figures in such a powerful, like, position. Like,
Yeah,
it's very intimidating.
and like they can just hide information and hide the truth. Like if I were to go missing, and in such a crazy way, I would want it to be known, what happened. You know what I'm saying? Like if I was on
of
a
course.
plane that disappeared, or a ship that crashed, to the Titanic's a whole nother conspiracy I can get into. Like but I would want people to know the truth, Like, even if
Yeah,
I
that's like
were to
the
die,
that's the whole thing with like like I feel like it's like it's like I'm not on the side of like covering things up, but
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's kind of the decision of the authority figures to think like, are they ready for the truth? Like, because what if the truth is so like frightening, or like it's like the whole thing with like Area 51, bro. Like, we had all those memes and whatever.
hmm
Like that was all fun and good, but like, what is really still going on in there? Because I do
So,
believe that people have that it was there was some, like, some smaller documentation on how
hmm
it is actually indeed like a military site or whatever,
yeah,
but still that's like not 100% confirmed. It's the whole thing about like cover-ups or whatever. It's just,
hmm
why is it, like, why are we not able to learn about these truths?
yeah.
Like
And
they say, like
go ahead, Caster.
mindless sheep are easier to control. Maybe
hmm
that's their end goal.
Oh,
Which,
there's a thing, I remember, it's like another, I guess, conspiracy theory on how like these smaller conspiracies kind of give the government more power upon its people, on like regulating, almost like
mhm.
with such, I would say, like crazy situations, like the we are actually helping like strengthen our like their power upon us, I would
hmm
say.
Yeah, and
Keeps us under control, right?
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
there's uh, to go on, we're just digging ourselves deeper and deeper. So on the subject of manipulation, literally the government has been literally proven that they have been testing mind control. Like it was years ago, but there was I think it's called MK Ultra, and literally like they were trying to
Now,
like not brainwash, not nothing. They were trying to control people.
mm, now that you mentioned MK Ultra, it's a step forward in what my topic will be later. If you heard of the video game Polybius,
Oh my
I
goodness, I
have
remember
not.
that. I remember
mm-hmm.
getting so deep into that. Oh, I'm so ready for you to talk about it. Um,
What's
No, no
our
worries.
time looking like,
we're
Hinata, by the
already at
way?
an hour.
Yeah, maybe we can move on to
Yeah.
Caster. You could go on
Well,
about your.
what we can do is we can stop the recording and start another recording,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah,
just have
let's
like a
take
part
a
two.
let's
Yeah,
take
that's fine.
a break.
Let's take a like a
Yeah.
short
Play some
15-minute
copyright
break.
free songs in between.
Uh huh.
Yeah, we can take a
So
break.
we will be back, I believe, but I think this will conclude, let's say, part one of
Part one.
our conspiracy featuring mostly time travel and cover-ups,
Mm-hmm.
Yep, 100%.
and
Oh, it is
some.
becoming interesting though. Like
Mhm.
Hmm.
to the FBI agent listening in from my laptop. Thanks for tuning in.
Yes, thank
Yeah,
you,
if you
thank
have
you.
any questions, send it to my Facebook.
Please just direct all your questions upon Step Onkel Mike Lee Torres.
Mike Lee Torres.
All
Yeah.
right.
Speaking of, I have a question here.
Of course.
It's like, uh, did you guys ever see what one of those MK Ultra Polybius games in arcades back in the day?
I
Can
mean,
we
I
save this
wasn't.
for the second part two?
Yes, for sure, for sure.
All
Yeah.
right.
So I
Well,
think that will conclude part one. We'll take a short breather and we will be back.
awesome.
Thank you very much.